Nova Scotia has long been concerned about the health and welfare of young children in child care centres. However, with increasing rates of chronic disease in the province and more knowledge about the influences on the development of healthy eating behaviours, change to the way we support young children was needed. In 2007, the province embarked on a revision of the regulations and guidelines that promote healthy eating in regulated childcare settings. The Nutrition Standards in Childcare project began in 2012. This was a research project that wanted to see if the standards and guidelines for food and nutrition in regulated childcare settings helped to create healthier environments for young children, particularly healthier meals and snacks. As you may know, the standards and guidelines came into effect the previous year. During our research, we spoke with policymakers, public health representatives, childcare directors, early childhood educators, and even parents of young children. It soon became evident that all of us were very similar. Many of us were parents, or aunts and uncles, or grandparents, or friends of people with young children, and we all understood and could relate to the joys and challenges of feeding young children. More than that, when conversations and engagement focused on our hopes and aspirations for our children and how we would like to see them relate to food throughout their life, we all seemed to say the same thing. We would like our children to enjoy many different types of food and to feel in control of their own decisions around food and eating. The following vignettes are some of the stories we heard along the way and represent to us a reminder that although we may individually support young children in different ways as they learn to eat, we are all trying to achieve the same thing: to help children grow up with a healthy relationship with food that will last them a lifetime.
Children are so dynamic at meal times. They're more talkative, they like to chat, they like to tell you all about, what they're doing during their day, their favorite things that they're doing. So really, one of the best things about mealtime with children is the conversations you have. They're really great. The children are more dynamic and they're outgoing and they're relaxed, so they're telling you all of their lovely, lovely stories that they like to tell.
Yeah, I get to interact and they all know me. They know when snack's coming, they know when lunch is coming, and they'll stop in the kitchen in the morning and say, "Hey, Shauna, what's for snack?" Or I enjoy the family style dining that we have here because I'm all for sitting at the table with my family because that's what we did at home and that's what we do at my house. So I just like, you talk about your day and, what you didn't like and what you did like.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of aspects about meal times and hanging out with my kids that I really enjoy. Is that I find that that's the time we get to talk to each other, right? I get to hear about the day, stories about what's happening in the world, what they're thinking. Just because it's a focused time, they can ask things. They don't seem to make sense of the world. Recently, my daughter has been having these dreams, and she seems to only tell us about the dreams when she's eating. Like she has these memories of, when she lived in another world, and so she'll tell us these stories about that when she's eating. So yeah, there we go.
Most of the time, the funniest things are, the kids who just want ketchup on everything. You're making them this beautiful meal and they want ketchup on it. Or, the children who pour their milk. Even this morning, I went into a room and they're having fruit salad and this little guy was adamant that he had to pour his milk on his fruit salad. They just like to mix things up and you're looking over and all of a sudden, they got it all mixed up in a mishmash and things. So using all those techniques and having a lot of laughter around the table for us is important.
The whole experience is kind of a funny experience. There's a lot of negotiations that go on during mealtime, especially with my daughter. Her intelligence is really coming through, especially at mealtime. And so, everything is like, 3 more bites, sweetie? No, mommy, you mean 1 more bite? Or, it's just always back and forth. And also, I really learn the words that she's learning at mealtime. So she's starting to use these new phrases and big words that she's trying to incorporate into her everyday talk at mealtime. So the other day she told me that she has an allergy to red meat and she couldn't eat chili. And I said, "But you just ate red meat yesterday." "Oh no, mommy, my allergy to red meat is only in chili."
I mean, I think it's kind of funny now that I have a little one. You kind of forget as an adult that food is something that's really new to a kid, and foods can be so different from each other. So I think it's just funny. Every time I introduce a new food or my daughter sees a new food, the way that she experiences is so different. You kind of forget that, you know, everything we know as adults has a different taste, but you know, the how hot it is or how spicy it is or what it looks like or what it feels like. It's really interesting to see her experience food for the first time, and cool to see her kind of play around with it and to see her taste it. So you can tell right away after she takes a bite, does she really like it or is she unsure? Does she let it just fall out of her mouth? You know, so I think it's kind of funny just to watch her experience new foods. It's pretty cool.
Well, when it's just me and her, it's fun because we have conversations together at mealtime. She'll tell me about her day, which is funny because it's never what actually happened. It's all imagination. I also like it when she eats, which I know seems kind of silly, but when she'll actually sit down and eat her meal and say that she likes it, that's exciting for me as a parent because it's very rare that children like what you put in front of them. So.
I think what I enjoy most about mealtime with my daughter is that she really slows eating down. Eating cannot be a quick ordeal anymore, a quick, you know, experience. It's not like eating and going. It really slows down, and we have conversations, and she asks about our day, and it's really sweet actually because she hears my husband and I ask each other how our day is, and she'll say, "So, Mommy, how was your day?" So I like that she forces us to slow down. She forces us to socialize, and yeah, I really appreciate that aspect of it.
I find it challenging when they do throw their food on the floor, or when they make a lot of mess. Mealtime, like I said, I work with toddlers, so they're 18 months and older, so it's a lot of mess. And I don't mind cleaning up the mess. But when children deliberately do things, like I said, I really try to encourage them to clean up their own mess. That's the biggest challenge I find, and sometimes with the communication, if they really can't communicate and they get frustrated with not being able to communicate what they want, and I'm not understanding, and I'm trying to meet their needs, but I don't know what they want necessarily. That's the biggest challenge. I also find some challenges are like food waste. I really don't like wasting food. I never force children to eat because I don't believe in that. I don't believe I would want someone to force me to eat something that I didn't want to eat. But I want them to still eat food that they want, and I want there to be enough food. I don't want them to go hungry either. So I struggle a little bit with that because we have a set meal plan. So if they don't like the meal at all, then they might not get lunch that day. And I struggle a little bit with that because I don't want anyone to go hungry.
Definitely a lot more crazy when she was younger, so when it came to feeding, getting it all over herself. But as she gets older, there's more challenges. Then there are crazy fun stories, but she does always surprise me with the type of foods that she will want to eat. So for example, if I've made a stir fry, she will say that I don't eat veggies, please don't do that. But very well, in fact, she does eat vegetables. She just doesn't want them in her stir fry, so it involves making a deconstructed stir fry for her. Or if I'm having a salad that I don't think that she will have any interest in trying, she'll be asking, "Oh, Mommy, what are you eating?" And then she'll want to gobble that salad up. So it's all the greens, sprouts, chickpeas, peppers, chicken, spices, and she just will eat that right up. So she continues to surprise me with her eating habits.
Some aspects of mealtime that I find challenging are when she doesn't want to eat what I prepared for her, or if I ask her what she wants to eat, the only thing she'll say is spaghetti. So, which, you know, is not so bad sometimes, but when you go through the effort of making, you know, say quinoa and, you know, steamed vegetables and like chicken or fish, and the only thing she wants to eat is the chicken, it can be very frustrating because you put all that work in and you really want them to have whole nutrition when they're eating, especially considering the fact that you don't know what they're eating when they're at daycare or in a school environment. So
sometimes it can be challenging if you've packed a snack, for example, that she hasn't tried before, but you assume that she would like and she doesn't end up liking it, you worry as a parent, is she getting enough to eat? I mean, even with my daughter being a good eater as she is, sometimes I do have that in my head, is she still hungry? She's still 1.5, so she doesn't necessarily know how to tell me, I'd like a little bit more of that kind of thing. So I do sometimes worry that she's getting enough or getting enough of the good stuff that she needs.
I think when Lillian doesn't want to eat what I've made for her, what my husband's made for her, or kind of even if we eat out and she orders something and doesn't want to eat it, it makes me feel frustrated, obviously, as a parent. I think that's like how most parents feel as a parent, period, is that they're frustrated, but mostly frustration, absolutely. Just because I'm worried about her nutrition, so making sure that she's getting everything that she needs, so. And not just eating candy and cookies and things like that, that we don't give her a lot of, but it's there, so.
And then I say, no kid ever starves themselves. It's okay. But I think inside, I'm like totally freaking out. Great. What? They haven't eaten again? They haven't done. So I think every single parent has these moments of anxiety where you're completely worried, and you want to make sure that your kids are healthy, and I'm always thinking that a good part of good health is good nutrition and good diet, and so I'm perpetually always feeling that we're never quite there.
So some of the aspects around mealtime that I do enjoy with my little girl involve grocery shopping. She loves to go grocery shopping with me. We like to plan our meals together. We also enjoy cooking together. It can be challenging, but at the same time it's very rewarding because she's able to see us preparing a meal together, and it gets her more interested and enthusiastic about eating that meal as well that she's helped prepare.
I really hope that children realize the importance of proper nutrition. One of the things that we're doing now is a garden. So the children are outside planting a garden, and they're growing their vegetables, and they're talking about tomatoes, and they're talking about cucumbers and pumpkins and different things that we're growing outside, so they're actually seeing it from start. So now when we have something on our plate, we talk a lot about where that came from, how does it grow, who must have planted it, where did it come from, and they're actually getting that respect for where it's coming from. So they tend to eat it more, and they're more open to having it. It's not all pre-packaged and made in the store and come in a Happy Meal or in a fast food box, So I'm really hoping that what we're doing with the children is going to teach them the value of a really good, nutritious meal.
I hope that they, encourage their children to eat different foods and try, different spices, go anywhere, like try something new, try Indian food, try everything, because you never know.
So my hopes for the future for my daughter are that she has just a healthy relationship with food, and I want that to involve, not looking at food as good food or bad food. And it's difficult because I look at food as good food or bad food, and I'm hoping that I'm not portraying that, and then she's not taking that on. I just want her to be able to eat food, enjoy it, not feel guilty, and be flexible, be able to, in different environments, but just to be able to eat and enjoy it.
From there, a lot of it, I think, is just common sense about what she should be eating. But on the other hand, it's pretty easy to be taken in when you're in the grocery store and you see a box and it says, this is really good. As a parent, there is some instincts that you want to follow as a parent, that you know that if it's in a box, it's not going to be as good as something else. But then again, there are times when you need to grab something in a box or in a package, and you do end up relying more on what it says than otherwise. Looking into the future, I think one of my biggest hopes for my daughter is that she has a really healthy relationship with food, and I think a lot of parents would say that, but thinking back to my childhood, my parents always did the best they could, but on the other hand, we ate a lot of candy and we ate a lot of sweet things, and I think looking back, in a perfect world, we would have been given more healthier options. So I really want my daughter to grow up thinking that fruits and vegetables are delicious, because they really can be if you make them the right way and you present them the right way. And I guess my biggest hope is that she has that really healthy relationship and enjoys what she's eating too.
In terms of trying to understand, how we support our kids about the eating and nutrition, it's a hard thing, right? Like, especially in the society where we exist, where body image is such a huge thing. there's, you know, there's an ambivalence about, you know, how I talk about food and how I present that to my kids, because I don't want it to be presented as an issue, and I don't want them to sort of like, but I mean, as I say that, I also am very conscious that I don't want my kids to drink pop, you know, like, you know, as a treat, yeah, but I don't want it to be something that's in, you know, in our house. I don't want to have candy. So I'm always thinking about those things, like how do we nurture them and how do we demonstrate that, you know, good nutrition if you're going to eat good food, then generally that's going to have an impact on, you know, your diet, your health, and all those things. How do we want to influence it? I mean, I think hopefully we're demonstrating it. Hopefully we, you know, are not sort of saying one thing and doing the other, and we are actually eating the kinds of food that we hope that they will value and, you know, surround themselves with.